Tantor Audio, a division of Recorded Books, presents American Cryptids, In Pursuit of the Elusive Creatures, by Kenney W. Irish. Introduction by Ken Gerhard. Foreword by Katie Elizabeth. Narrated by T.J. Clark. Introduction. Ken Gerhard.
If I cannot inspire love, I will cause fear. So famously pronounced the creature in Mary Shelley's classic Gothic horror novel Frankenstein. Shelley's tragic monster represented the quintessential cherub, combining both grotesque features as well as a baneful innocence. Yet are all of our monsters merely constructs of fable and fiction? Not if we are to believe the far-reaching tales that portray humongous, shaggy, man-like monsters stalking the outer reaches of modern America. Moreover, there is a wealth of other evidence, startling in its conformity and generally unfamiliar to the average person, that points to the existence of a race of subhuman giants who exist just beyond the grasp of scientific acceptance. Throughout the years, I've been unquestionably blessed to have had the opportunity to travel all across this awe-inspiring North American continent, from the remote, snow-covered peaks of Alaska to the impenetrable marshes of Florida, oftentimes on the trail of incomprehensible monsters. And while some so-called cryptids seem to be sensational composites that combine misinterpretations of known animals with tall tales and wishful thinking, this most definitely is not the case with regard to the Sasquatch, more commonly referred to as Bigfoot. For the unconvinced, I like to break the evidence down into layers. First, we must look back, way back in time, to the geological period known as the Pleistocene epoch, beginning over 2 million years ago. During that stage, smaller versions of Bigfoot actually did exist on the continent of Africa. We have definitive proof of this in the form of their fossilized bones. Known as the robust Australopithecus, these veritable ape-men were a mosaic of both, hair-covered and powerful, but walking very much like us, upright and on 2 legs. It is not hard to imagine how these ancient hominids may have radiated out of Africa at some point, spreading into Asia, perhaps then crossing the land bridge that once existed between the Old World and North America. During the Ice Age, these beings may have gotten even hairier and grown to immense sizes, similar to the woolly rhinos and mammoths of that frozen era. These theoretical man-beasts would have coexisted with Native Americans for the past 12,000 years, and lo, there are in fact numerous centuries-old native traditions which describe a gigantic, hairy tribe who chose to dwell deep in the wilderness. Then there are the modern reports, thousands of them, consistently describing encounters with the monster we call Bigfoot.
I've personally interviewed hundreds of eyewitnesses, many of them impressive and sincere in their convictions that they have come across a creature that science tells us should not exist.
One controversial film that was captured at Bluff Creek, California during 1967 seems to show one of these monsters striding away into the forest. Skeptics continually argue that the subject is merely a man wearing a costume, but conveniently ignore the fact that realistic costumes did not exist at the time. And finally, we have the footprints, thousands of them, usually found in places where man seldom goes, superficially human-like, but much too large, and bearing features that some experts have conceded are irrefutable proof that a living, breathing giant walks among us. You'll discover some 50 testimonials that attest to this startling reality, that Bigfoot may be found somewhere in every one of the United States.
Fortunately, researcher and author Kenney W. Irish is in a prime position to relate these fascinating and often chilling accounts.
An experienced Bigfoot investigator living in upstate New York, Kenney has had a lifelong interest in many facets of the unexplained, from UFO reports to the paranormal to all manner of strange cryptids and monsters. And he's spent a considerable amount of time looking into these enduring mysteries. Irish is particularly intrigued by how our perception of these varied phenomena are colored by folkloric influences. As a bonus, the author offers a titillating taste of local culture, relating meaningful facts about each state's history and heritage. In many respects, I could not be more delighted to introduce this very enjoyable Bigfoot travelogue, and I am exceedingly confident that the curious reader will agree. Ken Gerhard, San Antonio, Texas. Forward, Katie Elizabeth. Bigfoot, or Sasquatch, are said to be hairy, upright-walking, ape-like creatures that dwell in the wilderness. Depictions often portray them as a missing link between humans, human ancestors, or other great apes. They are strongly associated with the Pacific Northwest. On the other hand, these creatures have been reported throughout the United States. With around 400 sightings reported each year, these creatures have maintained their elusive nature and have continued as a scientific enigma. Combined, the Native American tribes of North America have more than 60 different names for Sasquatch. Are the native legends of these hairy beasts just myth? Native Americans were not the only people seeing this hairy primate creature roaming the wilderness of America. 19th and early 20th century newspapers had whole sections devoted to the miners, trappers, gold prospectors, and woodsmen, claiming to have seen wild men, bear men, and monkey men. Most famously, in 1924, a group of prospectors hunkering down in a cabin along the shoulder of Mount St. Helen in Washington state claimed they were attacked late one night by a group of ape men. Later, one of the prospectors admitted that they were not unprovoked attacks. He had taken pot shots at the creatures earlier that day. Experts estimate that there are around 2,000 to 6,000 Sasquatch within the United States and Canada. Kenney W. Irish presents not only an extensive but impressive collection of compiled eyewitness reports from across the country. This material is a must-read, an intriguing look into these bipedal beasts known collectively as Bigfoot. Katie Elizabeth, Vermont. Katie Elizabeth was born in Warwick, Rhode Island. Katie is a world-leading authority on the Lake Champlain monster. She has been studying the existence of Champ since a child. She made her lifelong dream into reality when she had her own sighting and experiences of this elusive creature in Lake Champlain. This prompted her to start her own group called Champ Search. The group's goal is to study, investigate, prove the existence, and most importantly, protect the unique animals that inhabit New York and Vermont's beautiful Lake Champlain. Katie currently resides on the shores of Lake Champlain in Vermont. In 2018, she was honored with an official world record as the only full-time dedicated woman lake monster hunter in the world. Also in 2018, Katie approached the town of Port Henry, New York, known as the home of Champ, with a written resolution to protect these creatures. April of 2018, this law was passed. Katie has been featured on the History Channel, Discovery Channel, the Science Channel, NBC, and Coast to Coast AM. She is the author of the new book, Waterhorse of Lake Champlain, The Search. Chapter 1. Evidence. What exactly is considered evidence? Is it the unidentified howl in the dead of night? A lurking figure in the woods for no reason? Could it be a footprint that just could not be human? Maybe a picture of something that should not be? Regardless of what evidence is presented, it is always open for opinion and scrutiny. Some have created a false reality of who and what these creatures are and represent, made out to be fun and in most cases laughable. Anyone who comes across one's path certainly does not walk away smiling, but always in a state of shock. Unfortunately, some distorted and weaken the perspective and understanding of the individuals who relentlessly pursue these beings looking for answers. From Native American folklore dating back hundreds of years to present-day monster encounters. In the end, when looking past the lights of fame and scripted entertainment, there is one aspect that remains, cannot be denied, nor overlooked. The countless witnesses across the United States who claim encounters with what can only be described as American cryptids. The Native Americans have long played a role in the documentation of sightings regarding what we now call Sasquatch, or Bigfoot. Some tribes refer to the creature as Wild Man, due to its human-like bipedal walk. I also give credit of knowledge to the indigenous people when it comes to other mysterious and unexplained creatures.
With so many tribes, I cannot mention all, but we'll be highlighting some historical information about one in each chapter from each state. I have been researching and studying legend and lore my entire life. My mind, which I refer to as my internal hard drive, has been overflowing with the stories and legends. So now it is time to download the information into this publication. On average, depending on what data one pursues, in the United States there are about 400 sightings reported each year. Of these eyewitness encounters, most want to stay anonymous due to the fear of backlash and ridicule. As promised, written records containing any direct information has been destroyed in an effort to respect the privacy of each. Thanks to word of mouth and modern-day technology, contacting and obtaining encounters from each state has not been such the task I first believed it to be. Chapter 2. Cleburne County, Alabama. State Park Dweller. Alabama, nicknamed the Heart of Dixie, is a southeastern U.S. state and displays many landmarks that represent the American Civil Rights Movement. Its capital is Montgomery. Alabama joined the Union as the 22nd state in 1819. In the mid-20th century, Alabama was at the center of the American Civil Rights Movement and was also part of the Montgomery bus boycott. The state's economy was energized in the 21st century with employment in areas such as agriculture, auto production, and jobs in the aerospace industry. Its population is approximately 5 million, with an area covering 52,420 square miles. Alabama is home to tribes of Cherokee Native Americans. The population of Native Americans significantly contributed to shaping the state's history. The Cherokees contributed and served as valuable allies to the United States at the time of the Creek War from 1813 to 1814. When war presented itself in 1813, the Cherokees fought alongside U.S. troops under Andrew Jackson. As one, they raided Creek villages along the Black Warrior River and fought in the 1813 battles of Tallahatchie and Talladega, from which they emerged victorious. The Cherokee believed in the thunder beings. It is said they lived in rainbows and lightning. It is also believed that the Thunders, who lived close to the Earth's surface, would harm people, which did happen from time to time. Alabama is also home to the Wampus Cat, a panther-sized beast with glowing yellow eyes. Some claim the eyes could pierce a man's soul, or even launch an individual into a trance-like state, unable to move or defend themselves. Witness encounters claim the legend as a cross between a beast-like feline creature and a woman. Some have witnessed canine dog-like features as well. The howl is said to evoke anxiety and fear upon whoever experiences the vocal. The lucky individuals who have encountered and lived to tell the tale have claimed the beast, while mostly on all fours as you would expect, has the unnatural ability to walk bipedal and give chase on just the two hind legs. The Cherokee tribe believe the beast to be of spirit, yet can transform itself into a flesh-like human form to lure in unsuspecting victims. The beast is said to be nocturnal in nature, which adds an advantage when hunting for human prey. Some poor souls have been taken in the night while they slept. The folklore surrounding the Wampus Cat has been passed down through generations and across native tribes, stating the evil that lurks the land is in fact real, and directs and heeds warning to all not to venture away on your own, and to always keep one eye open. The State Park Dweller, a large bipedal creature witnessed many times in Cleburne County. Eyewitnesses have claimed that the dweller stands 7 to 8 feet tall, with a shoulder-to-shoulder width of 4 feet. Its fur has been described as knotted and of light color. Some believe it is an offspring to the most popular Bigfoot known in Alabama as the White Thing, but at this point, it is a theory that cannot be validated. From what can be confirmed thus far, the creature received its name from being seen mostly at night in state parks around the area. Some witnesses have claimed that the dweller was going through dumpsters looking for food and being seen ravaging through coolers at campsites. Black bears are known to have been seen in the area, but according to campers, these encounters all can be confirmed as not a bear, as the creature they witnessed was of a light color, which aligns with the dweller's description. One encounter took place on a Friday night, approximately around 10:30 p.m. A couple who was staying at the Cleburne State Park took a stroll on what they described as a path that seemed to be more like a wildlife trail traveled by forest animals in the area. As they walked, they could only describe their surroundings as peaceful and serene. The moon glared through the trees, which cast enough light to help guide them along. Out of nowhere, they came across a foul smell. Thinking it was possibly just a dead animal somewhere, they continued. The smell worsened to the point they decided to turn back, as they felt that they would be coming across whatever it was if they continued forward. As they turned around and started back toward the direction of the park, just to the right was a large tree, and there appeared to be a large figure standing behind it, peering out at them. They described the figure to have yellow, glowing eyes. The height of where the eyes sat would have been around the 8-foot mark, according to the couple. The creature made no noise, but seemed to be swaying back and forth. The pair took off running. When they arrived back at their site, packed up all their belongings, and left. The encounter has been etched in their minds, and at this point, they will no longer consider camping in a state park again. Chapter 3. Gateway County, Alaska. Whipple Creek Screamer. Alaska, called by some Land of the Midnight Sun, whose capital is Juneau, was acquired by the United States in 1867 for $7.2 million, which was approved by the U.S. Congress, and the American flag was flown at Sitka. It was the 49th state to join the Union. Gold was discovered on the Stikine River in 1861 and in Juneau in 1880. In 1878, a salmon cannery was constructed, which was the beginning of what would become the largest salmon industry in the world. In the 1950s, oil and natural gas discoveries in the Kenai Peninsula and offshore drilling in Cook Inlet created an industry that by the mid-1970s ranked first in the state's mineral production. In the 1960s, a booming pulp industry began to utilize the forest resources. Today, the population is approximately over 700,000, with an area covering 664,988 square miles. It is documented that in 1971, the temperature dropped to a record low of -80 degrees. Alaska is also home to the Yupik tribe, the Yupik group of Indians known as Eskimos, and is closely related to the Inupiat and Inuit Alaskan tribes. These great people are the reason the kayak is in existence. A big part of their survival is related to hunting. A Yupik diet consists of salmon, seal, and whales. Today, the population is approximately over 22,000, and they still practice their traditional hunting practices. They live out the shaman religion, which believes that you can achieve various powers through trance or ecstatic experience. The Yupik also have a custom of naming their newborn children after the last person who died in the community. The Yupik people can also be found residing in Russia and other locations outside of Alaska. The tribe feared the Amikook. This was a creature that was described as very large with leathery-type skin that was at times slimy. It was said to grab its victims with its tentacle-type arms and pull them to the depths of the water. Many who have disappeared were believed to have fallen victim to this creature. When in Alaska, you will certainly hear of the legend surrounding the Kodiak dinosaur. It has been said, due to the enormous size of the creature, the first eyewitnesses in 1969 dubbed it a dinosaur. The first press to cover the story and discovery of this such beast was the Kodiak Mirror Press. The publication's story revolves around an Alaskan shrimping boat that was equipped with state-of-the-art surveillance equipment, using sonar technology. The sonar images of the lurking creature in the deep sea claim measurements from 150 to 200 feet in length. The image also revealed the creature to having a long, thin neck with a serpentine-shaped head. The middle area surrounding the body, according to the image, was thick with flipper-like arms protruding from the right and left side of what was considered to be the sides of the creature. The aquatic beast to some is just a hoax, or just simply faulty equipment. Either way, according to many recent encounters, the Kodiak dinosaur is said to be as real as the Loch Ness Monster and Ogopogo. There is another being who calls Alaska its home, Known for its hideous screams, it has been dubbed the Whipple Creek Screamer by the residents in the area. Descriptions of the creature vary from 7 to 9 feet tall. It has been described as having dark brown to black-colored fur with red glowing eyes. Some have claimed the creature may have breasts, leaning toward it being female. A strange claim from residents says for some reason it has an extra interest in folks who live in trailers. The one aspect of the Whipple Creek Screamer that never changes or can be denied is the scream it bellows. It has been described as sounding like a woman giving birth or in excruciating pain. The unlucky people who've been close enough to hear it claim that once you experience it, you can never unhear it. It just sticks with you each day. You hope and pray that you make it through the night without experiencing its intense power and spine-tingling vocal. One unlucky man in the early 2000s had an experience with the creature. Under the worst of circumstances, this encounter took place. While at home one night, there was a power outage in the area. The trailer the man lived in went pitch dark. This is not an uncommon occurrence in the area, so he was not overly concerned. Having a backup generator outside, he quickly put on his jacket, grabbed a flashlight, a pistol, then ventured out into the cold. He went to the side of the trailer, where the generator was housed in a makeshift container to protect it from the elements. The man claimed he struggled with removing the lock, which was frozen. In his upset and enraged state, he yelled out some obscenities. Much to his surprise, about 5 seconds after, there was a scream that seemed to come from what he described as about 50 yards away, in a thick area of the forest. This reply to his initial yelling was unwelcome. As he turned around, he pointed the flashlight in the direction of the noise, and witnessed a large figure standing in the distance. Facial features could not be made out, but according to the surrounding frozen vegetation, the figure seemed to measure up into the 8-foot realm. It let out another scream, and the effects of the scream could be felt hitting the man's chest. He raised his pistol, took a shot. Unsure if he hit the figure, it let out another scream and ran off into the thicket. The man quickly retreated inside and allegedly called the authorities. There was evidence of something in the area where the man saw the figure lurking, but it could not be determined what it was. As far as the bullet hitting the figure, there was no blood nor evidence of a hit. The encounter was played off as being a bear sighting, which was a common occurrence in the area. The man was warned by the authorities to be sure in the future what he was pointing the pistol at before pulling the trigger. Chapter 4. Gila County, Arizona. 9-foot-tall fisherman. Arizona, which was originally part of Mexico, achieved statehood in 1912 as the 48th state to join the Union. The land was ceded to the United States in 1848 and became a separate territory in the year 1863. In 1854, copper was discovered, and mining became Arizona's primary type of industry, up until the 1950s. Another interesting fact, Arizona's population began to increase due in part of the availability of air conditioning. Due to this, it became one of the fastest-growing states in America. The population is approximately over 6 million and is the 6th largest state in the country regarding area. The size comes in at 113,990 square miles. Arizona is also home to the Apache Indian tribe. The Apache have a rich, prosperous history in the area. Having many struggles, they always overcame. Apache men were trained for combat war at a very young age. They are hunters, warriors, and some have become political leaders. The men wore leather war shirts and breechcloths in the warm weather. When temperatures would drop, they were known to wear buffalo skin for warmth. The Apache women wore clothes made of buckskin. They always had long hair and would decorate with handmade ornaments. The women wore warrior shirts, which were often decorated with beads. The main source of food for the Apache tribes would consist of buffalo, but also consumed turkey, fox, elk, and deer. The Apache believed and feared what they called the Big Owl, or La Lechuza. The people would blame this being for unusual deaths and unexplained events. The big owl was referred to when it came to the children as the boogeyman. The state of Arizona has many legends of lore, surprisingly, some surrounding werewolves. The werewolf, some say, to be half man and half wolf. Others claim the being to be a cursed man that transforms into a wolf when the full moon occurs. The legend of the werewolf has been in existence throughout history, and stories of encounters with such beasts have been passed down from generation to generation. During the times of witch trials, they also held werewolf trials. Many folks who were considered to be a werewolf and found guilty were burned to death. For most, a Wolfman-type creature is seen as the 1941 Hollywood character whose death comes via a silver bullet. But there are countless real-life accounts that have been recorded over the centuries. Many unexplained mutilated human deaths are said to be the work of a werewolf. Vision of the remains are said to have long, deep claw marks down the back, which leads many to believe there was a foot chase, and the front having the stomach and chest area ripped open and pulled apart. These such findings are almost always written off as some kind of fierce animal attack. Werewolves are also suspect when it comes to farm animal mutilation and missing livestock. One eyewitness, a farmer, claimed he heard a commotion near his hen house. He grabbed his rifle and ran outside. He came across a man-like creature with canine features that stood up while dropping the dead hen on the ground. The farmer took a shot at the beast. Once the rifle went off, it fled into the darkness. This encounter left the farmer shaken and now uncomfortable on his own property. In the Roosevelt Lake area in Gila County, there's a beast known to two men as the 9-foot-tall fisherman, described as having unusually thin legs with a large flat nose. The eyes have been detailed as glowing red, and the body with dark brown hair. Like many other Sasquatches, it has been said that it puts off a wretched odor that, once experienced, it will never be forgotten. Two gentlemen were fishing in the early morning hours in the area of Roosevelt Lake. It is an area they were both familiar with, as it was a common location they would frequently fish. As they made their way along the lake, they noticed an odor that was described as hot garbage and rotting fish. Being by the lake and wildlife in the area, it was assumed that it was a rotting carcass of some poor animal that fell prey to another. One of the men noticed movement from the corner of his eye. He turned in the direction and stopped dead in his tracks. The man's friend turned, looked, and witnessed the same sight his friend was focused on. The creature was about 75 yards away, looked to be in the 9-foot range. It took huge strides while walking and swinging its arm. The hair was dark brown, but the creature was not close enough to see any type of texture to it. They just stood silent and watched it as it disappeared into a line of trees. Since that day, the two fishermen have had many conversations about that early morning encounter, going over the maybe it was this or maybe it was that scenarios. But to this day, they just do not believe there was a 9-foot fisherman they were witnessing that morning. Chapter 5. Benton County, Arkansas. Ape-like Man. Arkansas, whose capital is Little Rock, has the statehood date of 1836 and was the 25th state to join the Union. The present-day Arkansas ranks 27th among the 50 states in area at 53,178 square miles. In 1957, Little Rock Central High School attracted national attention when it sent troops to the school to support integration. Today, the population is approximately 3 million. The Osage Indians hunted and claimed the northwestern area, which included all land as far south as the Arkansas River. The men hunted elk, bison, deer, and bear. The women would butcher the animals, smoke the meat, and prepare the hides. The men wore deerskin loincloths, leggings with moccasins. When it was colder outside, they would wear bearskin robes. The women kept their hair long and wore deerskin dresses, leggings with moccasins. In 1808, they ceded most of the land to the United States government in a treaty that was signed off in Fort Clark in Louisiana Territory. The Osage people believed in what they called the wild people, a fairy-like little people that would roam the forests and were blamed for many unexplained events and rare occurrences.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?